Hi students, previous classes discussed about the write a brief account on classification of xerophytes and enumerate the morphological adaptations of xerophytes. Today onwards discuss about the give in detail account of anatomical adaptations in xerophytes. That is anatomical adaptations in xerophytes. Dear students, anatomical structure, that is internal parts of the plant body, clearly shown on transverse section of root, transverse section of stem, transverse section of leaf, that is TS of root, TS of stem, TS of leaf. Anyhow, in xerophyte plants of TS of root, TS of stem and TS of leaves containing three main parts. The first main part are here epidermis, second main part are here cortex in roots and stems, but here in leaves cortex is replaced by mesophyll cells. Third main parts in roots, stems and leaves, that is stele or vascular bundles. Dear students, any higher plants or any lower plants and any hydrophytic or aquatic plants, the roots, the stems and the leaves would be containing or consisting of mainly three parts. They are namely epidermis, cortex, stele or vascular bundles. But here especially in hydrophytic plants, the stele of phloem is related better, well developed, but xylem is poorly developed. Why? Because all hydrophytic plants are grown in generally water. So in those of plants, so the water easily absorption all over the surface of the plant body. So hence xylem is totally reduced. So all hydrophytic plants, the xylem is reduced. Why? Because so all over the surface of the plant body to be easily absorption of water and mineral nutrients. Why? Because these plants are generally grown in water. Okay, now. So today we are going to discuss about the anatomical adaptations in xerophytes. Dear students, epidermis is covered by thick cuticle to reduce transpiration. In generally, in hydrophytic plants or aquatic plants, the epidermis is not covered by cuticle. By means cuticle is totally absent. Okay, but here in xerophytic plants, epidermis is covered by thick cuticle. Cuticle is present. What is the function of cuticle? So to reduce transpiration by means loss of water and mineral nutrients, especially loss of water. So that is transpiration. Next, coming to epidermal cells are thick-walled. Epidermal cells are generally thick-walled in hydrophytic plants, all over the xerophytic plants, and may have silica crystals. Especially nerium plants, the epidermal cells would be containing silica crystals. Generally all xerophytic plants, epidermal cells is thick walls and covered by cuticle. Cuticle is always reduced transpiration. At the same, would be containing silica crystals. Okay now. Next coming to multi-layered epidermis is present as leaves of nerium. In generally all over the plants, the epidermis is a single layer. In tiers of root, in tiers of stem, but here in tiers of leaves, all dicotyledon plants, all monocotyledon plants, all idiopathic plants, epidermis are of two types in leaves. One is upper epidermis, another one is lower epidermis. Upper epidermis and lower epidermis. But especially in xerophytic plants, so the upper epidermis is a multi-layer. This is a lower epidermis, this is a upper epidermis. In generally, all plants of the leaves, two types of epidermis, upper epidermis and lower epidermis. Upper epidermis is a single layer and lower epidermis is a single layer. But here, especially in xerophytic plants, can be clearly shown on medium leaf. Especially the upper epidermis is multi-layer. By means more than two layers. More than two layers. That is a multi-layer. But lower epidermis is single layer. But especially upper epidermis, not covered single layer, more than two layers, up to 6 to 7 layers. Up to 6 to 7 layers. Okay, no? Multi-layer, that is multiple epidermis, is present as leaves of nerium. This is very important over here. Especially in nerium, the epidermis is multi-layer, more than two layers. In generally, all plants of leaves would be containing two types of epidermis. Okay, now one is upper epidermis and second one is lower epidermis. But here both epidermis are single layer. But especially in xerophyte plants of the nerium leaf would be containing a multi-layered epidermis, especially upper epidermis. Next coming to leaves and stem of Calotropis consist of waxy coating. Calotropis is also one of the xerophytic plants. The stem and also leaves would be containing a waxy coating and also to be produced one milky content, that is latex. So Calotropis of the picture, Calotropis, the leaf of the picture can be separated by the stem of the Calotropis. So in this stem to be produced one milky content, one milky waxy content. Okay, now leaves and stem of Calotropis consist of waxy coating. At the same time, to be produced one milky content. That is one type of latex. But this is very harmful and very poisonous. This latex is. Next coming to stomata are generally confined to lower epidermis of leaves. That is called hypostomatas. In generally, stomatas are absent in roots, but sometimes stomatas are present in stems. But especially stomatas are seen here all plants of the leaves, both upper epidermis of the leaves and lower epidermis of the leaves. But here especially in xerophytic plants of the leaves, so stomata are generally confined to lower epidermis. Stomatas are mainly present in xerophytic plants of the lower epidermis leaves, that is called hypostomatas. By means stomatas only present in lower epidermis, that is hypostomatas. Stomatas is only present in upper epidermis, that is epistomatas. Stomatas, especially in some of the idiopathic plants. In some of the idiopathic plants, the stomatas are appeared upper epidermis, that is called epistomatas. But here in xerophytic plants of the leaves, the stomatas mainly clearly shown of the lower epidermis, that is called hypostomatas. And at the same time present in fits, that is sunken stomatas. Present in fits, that is sunken stomatas lined with aids. Sunken stomatas are also having to the aids, that is nerium, especially nerium leaves. Okay, now. So nerium leaves are also containing multilayer epidermis. The nerium leaves is also containing multilayered epidermis, and the nerium leaves is also containing hypostomatas and with present in sunken stomata, and sunken stomata with present in lined with aids. Lined with aids. These are the important character features of the nerium leaf. Nerium leaf. Multilayered epidermis is present, nerium leaves. Hypostomatas are present in nerium leaf. Sunken stomatas are present in nerium leaf. And sunken stomata are having to lined with aids. That is nerium leaf. That is nerium leaf. These are the important character features of the nerium. Next, coming to mesophyll in leaves is very well differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma. Dear students, in generally the tiers of root, the tiers of stem, any plants, the epidermis is below the several layer of cortex. Then after to be steel. But especially in all plants of the leaves would be containing mesophyll cells between of the epidermis and steel. Epidermis and steel. In generally, in roots, in stems, epidermis is below the cortex. Then after below the steel. But here most of the all higher plants and all lower plants first begin to epidermis is below the mesophyll cells. How to form of mesophyll cells? By means the leaves are containing two types of epidermis. One is upper epidermis and another one is lower epidermis. This is upper epidermis and this is a lower epidermis. Upper epidermis is below the palisade parenchyma and lower epidermis above the spongy parenchyma. So upper epidermis is below the palisade parenchyma and lower epidermis is above the spongy parenchyma. The palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma both are constituted within the mesophyll cells. Within the mesophyll cells. So dear students, mesophyll cells are present in plant of the tiers of leaf. Mesophyll cells are totally absent in tiers of root and tiers of stem. Any higher plants or any lower plants. But mesophyll cells are also present in all plants of the leaves. All plants of the leaves. These mesophyll cells are present in between of the upper epidermis and lower epidermis. But here palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma to be constituted within the mesophyll cells. By means in generally these mesophyll cells are made up of parenchyma tissues. So these parenchyma tissues of mesophyll cells are having number of chloroplasts. So this chloroplast is always carry out photosynthesis, at the same time to be appeared green in color and to be make a own their food material. So in this mesophyll cells mainly presence in upper epidermis and lower presence in lower epidermis. So hence upper epidermis is always green in color and lower epidermis is always dark green in color. Why? Because upper epidermis would be containing several chloroplasts, but lower epidermis would be containing smaller number of the chloroplasts, less number of the chloroplasts. So hence upper epidermis is always green in color, lower epidermis is always dark green in color. Next, coming to mechanical tissues are very well developed. In xerophyte plants, the mechanical tissues are very well developed. That is collenchyma and sclerenchyma both are very well developed. And vascular tissues are very well developed. What are the vascular tissues? That is xylem and phloem. So both xylem and both phloems are very well developed in xerophytic plants. This is very important character features are here. Mechanical tissues are very well developed in xerophytes, and vascular tissues are very well developed in xerophytes. Mechanical tissues, what are they? Mechanical tissues. So these mechanical tissues is always to give a mechanical support in the plant of the stem, in the plant of the branches. So that is parenchyma and sclerenchyma. What are they? Vascular tissues. That is xylem and phloem. What is the help of xylem and what is the help of phloem? Xylem is always transported of water and mineral nutrients from the root to entire of the plant body. What is the help of phloem? The phloem is always transported of food material from the leaves to entire of the plant body. This is the important of vascular tissues, and also this is the important of mechanical tissues. Okay, now so totally described about the xerophytes, that is classification of xerophytes, and enumerated the morphological adaptations in xerophytes, and list out the anatomical adaptations in xerophytes. Okay, now this is about the xerophytes. Okay, now thank you.